Hi, welcome back to the channel. What I'm doing today is to work on the bullet. About 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I can't remember now. Me and Sue had a fairly big trip into Romania. 900 kilometres it was round trip. Sue's took to the bullet. It's a favourite bike, so that's what we took. And I like it anyway. We was riding in temperatures 35 to 40, maybe a little bit higher in places. Run beautiful. Never missed a beat. The only thing we come across was the rear suspension on it. The front suspension seems to work fine. When we set off, it was fine. And there's me, Sue, and we had the Royal Enfield luggage bags on the side. Very little of my stuff in it. The rest of it was full of Sue's. And it seemed okay, but as we were running in such hot temperatures, and the roads are pretty like Bulgaria, a bit bumpy like, as it heated up, it became very bouncy, like a pogo stick, and I'd already got it adjusted up to the maximum. So what we've done, we decided to buy some decent shocks for it. We bought some Hagons. Right, I'll show you them now. Alright, what we did, we looked online, which is going to be the best shocks we could get really. We got on Hagon's site and it's really good. They've got, you have to put in your model you buy, your age, the rider's weight, the passenger's weight, the average weight of my luggage, what we're going to carry, what sort of terrain, roads we ride on. So we filled it all in and sent it off. Picked the shock absorber out we wanted because it's got a huge choice. And the shock absorbers actually arrived from England to Bulgaria in about 10 days, which I thought was absolutely excellent service. That. Right, let me have a look, show you what we bought. Hagon shocks, look in the box. All the usual bump you get with them. Let's take them out and have a look. Box over here out of the way. Right, now as I've been told, I'm not selling this bike. Yeah, it's her favourite bike, this. She loves it. So this is what we bought. Hagon shocks. Adjustable preload. But on these, adjustable damping as well. So they're really top quality shock absorbers. So I can adjust the spring rate, but I can also adjust the speed rate on the damping up and down, which I wanted. So whatever happens, even with these, I'll set it, and I find when it's cold and if you haven't gone too far, they'll work perfect. But even these on rough roads, as the shock absorber's going up and down, it's going to heat the oil up in the shock absorber, and the damping speed will alter. You'll find it will go faster because it's got hotter and the oil's got thinner. But all you got to do, you can just turn this maybe, I don't think they're actually on flats, I think it's just a valve you turn. Turn it maybe a quarter turn, half a turn, and it make a huge difference to be back to where you want to be. You just have to be, when it cools down again, you'd have to turn it back. But you should be able to get a happy medium anyway. But this is the joys of buying decent shocks with a damping adjustment, because when you just got your preload here, that's it, that's all you've got. It's either hard or too soft. Right, so that's what we bought. Now the thing is, let's have a look on the bike. Yeah, these shocks are made for, like I said, our weight. I should only really use the bullet, to be honest. When we're two up nowadays, I'll take it the odd time or two just to keep it running right, but it'll be just solely for the two up. Because I've got the Interceptor, and if I don't ride the, I've got the Interceptor, I've got the Himalayan parts outside. If I don't ride that, there's no point in me having it. So I'm going to do some work on that this winter, make it sort of how I want it. But we'll be riding, the Bullet will be for me and Sue riding 2 up. Right, now, let's have a look on this side, it's easier. So we're going to replace the shock absorbers here, which is just a bolt on the bottom of the mount here. And this actually pulls out, which is good. But the problem is there's a top mount. The bolt comes in from the mudguard side this way, and I've already slacked this nut off. So that means that the bolt has got to go out that way. Well, obviously, as you can see, there's not enough gap. So I don't know why Royal Enfield did that in the wisdom. I think what they do, they build the chassis up with shock absorber, swinging arm and everything else in it, then they put the mudguard on after. The mudguard goes on from the back, I assume. So, to get that bolt out, I've got to take the mudguard off or be able to move it enough so it's going to clear the underneath of here where my finger is there. At the moment it just hits the mudguard. So really it's what was like a 15-20 minute job is going to turn into quite a bit longer. But no worry. I think you're okay on the Classic 500, but not on the Bullet 500 because the rear mudguard's different. So I've got to take the seat off, so we'll have the seat off first. Right, Bullet seats, no big problem. I'll slack the nuts off on the top. I'll take them off first. And the washer. I'll stand that there so we know where it is. Same on the other side. Oh, and this was a good test for this seat. This was the deluxe touring seat we bought. Very good. All seats need a little bit of time to bed in, but this seemed to be very good straight off. So we're quite happy with that. Sue was happy, so that's a good thing. There's 2 bolts at the back of the seat. And the seat should just lift off now. There we go. That's that seat. Yeah, touring. Beautiful. Really happy with that. Well worth the money. So as we're keeping this bike and just get the best of whatever I can for it. Stand that up here out of the way. What I'm going to have to do now is this part of the framework here runs to the back of the mudguard, over the top to here, will come off complete with the mudguard. But I don't want to take it all off. I'm just going to try and pull it back enough and lift it enough so I can get clearance on this bolt. Right, I'll pass the camera on to Sue and we'll see how we get on with it. There you go. Right, I need to disconnect this. Pull that out so we've got, because this is fixed to the bar. I need to take the rear footrest off. Okay, and then we need to take this bracket off, because this bracket, I'll show you when I get it off, it's got a recess in it there that actually sits inside this, so it's got to come off. So we'll take that off, that's got a slot in the back of it, so it should pull away. I've undone this bolt here, the nut here, and I've already undone it all at the other side. So let's just have a bit of a... Oops. I wonder, actual fact, put them back, whether I can get enough. I can, yeah, I can get enough by tipping it up. Right, that's gone better than I thought. Take these two washers off here, that washer off there, lift the grab rail off. Now I've got access to this bolt. Now I put a piece of wood under the back wheel, so hopefully it doesn't do that. Let's get a spanner. Now there's a nut behind that, I think. Yeah. Don't actually make it very easy at all. Right, pull the top bolt out. Put that up here for the time being. That should give us room to pull the shock absorber out. There we go. That should lift up out the way. Right. Better see if I can get that nut out the back. Job for a magnet, I think. There we go. Right, new shock absorber. Want down here, look. New shock absorber. Now you want the adjuster for the damping, which is this piece, facing to the back. So let's have a look. Quite a tight fit because need a punch in that. It's quite a tight fit because obviously it's had the bolt in on the old shock and it's pulled it tight. Right. Well, it might be useful on this magnet, this actually. Can you see down the back of there, Tom? I don't know whether you can. So I can get that nut started. Yeah. That sounds favourable. It is. Yeah, I've got that one started. I've got the same problem here with this. What was that? Oh, it's that bolt fell off the wheel, all right. Pull that piece of wood out. Try and get this hole lined up. Right, let's get this bolt started from the back. think the design on the back of the bike worked really well with drum brakes. But it doesn't seem to work very well with the disking. It's like when I take the wheel out, there's zero room with the disc caliper and bracket on. Yet with the drum brake it just comes out ideal, leaving the chain in place. But that's not far off it. That's a tight fit. Let's see about the other side then. Tuck this one through. There we go. That should come out easy now. Lift that out of the way. These shocks, originals, are still very good, they're just not good enough for our needs. It says endurance on those. No. Same again, we need the adjusting for the damping needs to be on the back. So I think if we get the bottom in first, because it's got that weird bracket on the back on this one for the chain guard. That screws in that. Right, so we can get this in place. I think it wants tweaking a bit there. It's a bit... Well, that was easy, wasn't it? Washer. Don't need a nut on that yet. Right, let's see if we can get this framework back in. She's on. That's in. That's in. Right, I'll get all the footrests, brackets and everything back in place and the nuts on, and get it tightened up, and then we'll turn the camera back on. Right, I've got the bar back in down here with this bracket which has to sit inside this and the nut on. I've got my hand rail here, this is useful, put it on the same stand. Got all that in place. I've got two washers behind here. I put those on because this is the problem with the luggage rack. You know, it's well, it's made in India, and I think a lot of it's just done by eye, shall we say. And this wasn't sitting in here right, so I've used the two washers as a spacer. That's the only reason it's got two washers in there. shocks on in place, bottom bolts on. I've got them all tightened up yet. I've got my damping adjuster. You can see that. You see my finger? Just in here. Just there, I don't know if you can really see it. It's sort of the end of my finger there, that's the adjuster. It's going to be a bit of a tight job, but I'm afraid it's just what it is with having all these luggage racks on. So I've got all these bolts to tighten up. Same on this side. Shocks in place. So on this one, the damper adjuster is actually underneath the bracket. So that just shows, you know, the difference in how they're made. Got all my linkage brackets and parts on here in place. I've just got to tighten everything up. Right, so what I'm going to do now and tighten these up, I'm going to get everything tightened up so it's all together. Then I'm going to put the seat back on, and when I've got the seat back on, I can take it off and I'll see what it feels like just on the floor then. And we'll probably have to adjust this up. But as you can see, nothing's easy on this bike, on the rear of it. I always rate the Bullet as a nice thing to work on. It is, I think, till you get past the swinging arm pivot, everything back here is just absolutely cluttered. And like I said earlier, the design, because what with this, when you take the back wheel out, you actually leave the sprocket there and the chain and everything in place, which was it's a good idea, because if you're on the side of the road, you've got to punch, you're not messing about with the chain at all. But it was designed for the drum brake models, and this bike, because it's got a brake disc, it's got a caliper and a caliper bracket on, there is zero room to manoeuvre. Well, I put a new tyre on this and it's a right job. I really myself wouldn't fancy doing it on the side of the road. I've done the drum brake one, comes out beautiful, because that's what it was designed for. This is obviously just a modification of later years. But the shocks themselves, Hagon shocks, look very nice. Now, I've used Hagon before. I used to do a lot of pre-65 trialling and always use Hagon shocks, because they build what you want. It's not just you buy something and it comes off the shelf and the salesman telling you, oh yeah, it fits within the adjustment of the spring or whatnot. You know, it never does. So yeah, I should be happy with this. I hope the wife is. That's why we put them on. Right, I'll get all these nuts and bolts and everything tightened back into place. I put the seat back on, and then I'll fire the camera up again when we get it off the centre stand on the floor, and we'll see what it's like. Right, there we go. Seat back on. Shock absorber bolts, top and bottom, have been tightened. The front frame has been tightened. So as the bottom it goes in here, that's the arm that the footrest sits on, but it's also got a locking part in it that sits inside. That's untightened, footrests are tightened, that's tightened. Been round everything, seats on, tightened, bolts tightened. Now that seat is lovely look, isn't it? What quality that, and that is a genuine Royal Enfield one. I got this from India at a bargain price, and it's the latest one with the mesh webbing in the seat, because you can see it. Very nice, very comfortable. Right, so shocks are on. They do feel quite firm. I've got them, put them on at the moment on the softest setting on here. The damping has got that bit in there, end of my finger. It's got 13 adjustments on this, and in the kit you get your Hagon preload adjusting spanner. You also get a nice quality Allen key to adjust. Now, I can really see on that it's the one with the bobble end on it, which is just showing us, I think. And I can just get in here with it, where everything's black on black, and I can get to adjust that as an angle, like wherever I want, so my bags won't be in the way, and the framework's not in the way either. Now, I've got no idea where the settings need to be till I go out for a ride on it. I shall just take my Allen key with me and my preload just a C-spanner. But I've put it on 2 clicks because usually 1 click makes a huge difference on these, and you've got 13, so we've got loads and loads of adjustment. What I'll do is go out for a bit of a ride. Excuse to get out of the house of the way of the wife, isn't it, eh? And get it set for myself, and that gives me a base setting. I know every time I jump on it on my own where it wants to be, and then I'll take Sue out one afternoon and we'll go for a bit of a ride, and I'll keep adjusting it till we're sort of happy with it. Right, so I will do a review when I've got it set up, and what adjustments I need to make for 2 up, and I'll give you my weight and the wife's weight if she'll let me. And we'll see where we go from there with it, but it's got to be a huge improvement, because without any damping, I was on maximum adjustment on the preload, and there's nothing else I could do. And when it heated up on the bumpy roads, it was just like sitting on a pogo stick, you know, doing, 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 doing all the time. Yet when it cooled down, it was fine, like, but that's just the way things are. But that's about, to be honest, I think the only thing else I've got to do on this bike now, well, I haven't got to, well, I'm going to put the bags back on obviously, is maybe a new set of mirrors, because these are the originals, they're 8 or 9 years old and they're pitted on the chrome here. Besides that, we're all good to go. I did fit USB port down here, look, fixed it to the plate on here. Flick that off. That's it, on off switch. I've got the quad lock on. What I shall do is just undo this here and leave the bracket on so it don't spoil the look of this. Then I can put in the drawer in my workshop. Besides that, she's had, well, I put 1 brand new tyre on the back. I put a 120 on it. Yeah, 120 18. It's an 18-inch wheel on the back of mine, and it's got Dunlop Aramaxes on. The reason I got Dunlop Aramaxes on, there was only branded tyre I could buy in Bulgaria that fitted this, because the back wheel's a bit of an oddball size. Most 18-inch rims are motocross enduro bikes, so I didn't want knobblies on this. So I think she's all done. Yeah. My idea is with this, it's a keeper, never sell it. Plus I love riding it. My thoughts are with it, it's low, it's light, it's so easy to ride. I've got rid of all the vibrations, I've done all the work on the engine till something was majorly wrong with it, but I'll just fix it anyway. This will probably be, when I get to the point where I'm struggling, and this will be the last bike I ride this. If I can't ride this, the next step down will be a scooter, I reckon. So, hope that never happens. Anyway, so, I hope you enjoyed this. So I will do a review on the shocks when I get out on it. So, a big thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. It's free for you to subscribe. It does help me keep the channel going. I'm not going to say any more of that about it. Any comments, leave them down below. Any information I can give you, you know I always do. And we'll see you in the next video again then. Cheers.